What if Naruto was Meliodas' son? Part 1. After the death of Elizabeth and the founding of the Knights of the Round Table, Meliodas leaves Leonis in the capable hands of his son Tristan and leaves to continue being a fighter in other lands, knowing that under King Arthur's rule, Britannia is in very safe hands. He wanders for years and years and eventually comes across a kind of tear in the world leading to a completely different world, maybe even a different universe. Being curious as he always is, he walks through and ends up in the Naruto universe, with the tear in reality sealing behind him, almost like it was waiting for him to pass through. Almost like I put it there for no reason. He continues walking for miles, as flying doesn't really let him soak in this new environment. He eventually comes across a village called the Hidden Leaf. He walks in and asks the village guards where he can find some work, as he wants to open a new tavern here. The guard at the time tells Meliodas that he looks a bit too young to be doing missions, but he could go to the big mansion and talk to the Hokage about attending the academy. Meliodas thanks him for the information and heads to the Hokage's mansion. He walks into the office and greets the young Hiruzen. He introduces himself and asks if he has any missions for him to do. Hiruzen looks at him and asks how old he is and where he come from. Meliodas tells him that he is actually a lot older than he is, and that he got to this strange world through a tear in reality that closed behind him. Hiruzen, not believing him obviously, tells him to prove his age. Meliodas asks him how he would do that, and the Hokage tells him to attack him and see if he can even land a punch. Meliodas then says, "Well, if you say so," and rushes the Hokage, knocking him through the wall and catching him outside in the street. Hiruzen, shitting himself, says, "Okay, I believe you," and then they go upstairs to the office again. They sit down at the desk, and Meliodas apologises for putting a Hiruzen-shaped hole in the wall, to which Hiruzen just laughs, telling him that it's fine, and he did ask for it after all. He then gives Meliodas some missions, and he comes back in 2 days, with all of them being a complete success. After several years of this, one night when on patrol, Meliodas sees a girl with red hair being kidnapped and follows them closely, wondering where they were going. After a mile or so, it seemed like they were taking her to the Hidden Cloud village. Knowing this, Meliodas intervenes, knocking the shinobi out and carrying Kushina back to the village. Kushina asks who he is, and he tells her that his name is Meliodas. "And who are you, cutie?" Kushina tries to punch him for saying that, but Meliodas simply grabs her hand, saying, "Sorry, but it's true. You're gorgeous and your hair is so unique, it's amazing." And this is where the whole romance between the two of them began, and Meliodas earned the name of the Yellow Demon due to his efforts in the Third Great Shinobi War. After several years, Meliodas is named the fourth Hokage, and events that happen between them then and Naruto's birth are the same as Minato's is in canon. Side note, being in the Naruto world, there isn't as much magic to absorb like there was in Britannia, so Meliodas is a little bit weaker than before, and he can tell that his lifespan is running out, so it makes him a bit sluggish sometimes. After a few years, in a cave outside of the Hidden Leaf, Kushina gives birth to Naruto, who was born with dark green eyes and blonde hair. Meliodas was overjoyed that his son had his eyes and his hair colour, while Kushina was happy that her son was finally here and that she is no longer pregnant or in labour. But their sounds of happiness were halted when a masked man grabbed Naruto, holding a kunai to his throat, demanding the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Meliodas was enraged that someone dared threaten the life of his son, and entered his assault mode. He darted towards Obito, but he used Kamura, and phased through Meliodas, grabbing Kushina and getting out as fast as possible, knowing what Meliodas could do. And another side note, Meliodas basically did everything that Minato did, including training Obito, Kakashi, and Rin. Meliodas gets back to the house after using his own version of Flying Raijin, which uses the same principles but is used with his magic, which gives it roughly the same effects as Merlin's teleportation in the Seven Deadly Sins. He puts on his small Hokage robes, very small to be fair, and disappears. He then uses Vanish Counter or Counter Vanish, one of them, on the tail Beast Bomb to get rid of it entirely. He then grabs Kushina and goes back to the house with Naruto, putting her next to their newborn son, telling them both that he'll be right back. After this point, it mostly lines up with canon Minato, except Obito gets hurt quite a bit more as Meliodas uses his Hellblaze in the form of a Rasengan, putting his own spin on the move he and Jiraiya created together. Please ignore the pun of spin on a Rasengan. He and Kushina get skewered by the Nine Tails like the original, and this time seals all of the Nine Tails inside of Naruto, knowing that with Meliodas' power being within him, he would be able to control the Nine Tails completely. Meliodas could have survived this easily, but like I said before, he knew his time is almost up. He figures that using the Reaper to seal the Nine Tails is the most effective way. I'm sorry if this part is a little shorter than normal, but it's only a setup video for the rest of the series. But let me know what you think about this part and any improvements I can make. Subscribe and share if you really want to. And I'll see you later. Bye.